You're addicted to drugs because your frontal lobe isn't working. That's terrible. Let's give you more drugs. Okay? That's why I don't like his end of his philosophy, because his philosophy is the tail's wagging the dog. The frontal lobe isn't working because the frontal lobe has a problem. The frontal lobe isn't working because of other factors in his life. Nutrition, spirituality, depression, whatever it is. And the brain scans are real, though. There's no doubt that the brain scans are accurate. If you're depressed, there's an inactivity in your brain. But couldn't handwriting, graphotherapy stimulate your brain? Couldn't meditation meditate that? Couldn't an hour questions about what makes you happy or playing good and new also have a positive effect on the part of the brain that makes you happy? Absolutely. But you can't sell that in a pill. And that's why I don't think his research is complete, because he's taking out all the wonderful, he's not actually addressing the root cause, not the root cause. Brain chemistry. It's not handwriting, it's what? Brainwriting. This is your book if you want to write it down. It's not handwriting, it's brainwriting. A thought travels along a what? A neural pathway. That's correct. Could be synaptic pathway. And then finally, this is a huge awakening, and I believe this phrase was coined in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? If you haven't seen that, it is profound in every way. It's a feature Hollywood movie about neurophysicists and quantum physics. What the bleep do we know? What gets fired together gets wired together. Now, what does that mean? I love this example. It makes me laugh every time. I hope it makes you laugh. It might make you cry. That's okay. A little girl walks along the train track when she's 7 years old. She has a little dog named Fluffy. Fluffy and her are walking along the train track, and she hears the sound of a train. Whoo, whoo. It's kind of a wimpy train, huh? Choo, choo. What kind of trains do you have here? So she hears the train. She turns around and sees a train. She's like, oh my God, there's a train there. So she runs the side of the train track just in time to see her little Fluffy get flattened by the train. Wow. Now, she grows up. She's 17 years old. She's sitting on a bench with her boyfriend. They're having a romantic evening. And she hears a train whistle. What happens? She gets anxious. She's got to leave. She feels uncomfortable. She feels weird. She sweats. Okay? What if she had a poodle and the train whistle at the same time on that date? That date's over. Okay? And by the way, she's never owned a poodle again. Why would this? I mean, sure, it's kind of upsetting that Fluffy's not really Fluffy anymore. It's not so much. They renamed her Pancake. Is that not funny? Oh, come on, it's a fake story. There's no dead dog in this story. It's all unreal. Okay? Now, when it gets fired together, wired together, why did a train whistle and a poodle and the emotion of anxiety reoccur in her physiology 20 years later?
She was wired. It got memorized, or
It got imprinted, right. Right. Imagine that you have like a phone switch. You've seen the area in your apartment or your flat where all the phone wires come together, right? And it works fine. And all the phones are different, right? What if you took a wooden log, lit it on fire, and let all the wires burn together? What would happen? Well, it probably wouldn't work, right? But most likely, if it still worked, you would lift the phone and all your neighbors would hear your conversation, right? Because all the wires would melt into each other. Do you follow the logic? That's what happens to your brain. So there's two elements to trigger or anchor a profound emotion. That's why smell makes you remember things years later. It's unique, because smells are unique, and it's intense. So if you want to reoccur an intense emotion such as love or joy, it has to be unique, the stimulation. Train whistle could be unique. And it has to be intense. So most negative anchors or emotional triggers or things that your reactive mind really have an issue with They're negative because negative is intense. So negative emotions get re-stimulated by certain things. Okay? So that's the essential of it. Now, what we're doing is we want to program positive things. So we could just change the handwriting, right? But what if you change the handwriting with your favorite music on? How about your favorite classical music, like Mozart? Okay? Let me suggest when you do the workbook that you do it using music with no words. Why? Because I don't want you programming a particular word into your brain that means something you want. Okay? You could be listening to Britney Spears' Life is a Circus. I'm not sure that's the programming you really want for your 12-year-old girl. But Mozart is actually proven to have a Baroque theme, and that Baroque music has a certain beat to increase retention, and increased retention actually makes you learn faster. They did an experiment with Baroque music to a bunch of plants, and then rock and roll music. Specifically, one of my favorites, AC/DC. Now, after about 3 weeks, they got the same amount of sunlight, same amount of water, but one group of plants was growing rapidly, one group of plants was turning brown and dying. Which one do you think grew? The Baroque, the Mozart. Not because it's better music, not because you can dance better, because it has a rhythm which matched the cadence of growth versus the cadence of angst, energy. So I'm not saying don't listen to rock and roll. I like rock and roll. It's really fun. However, when I do therapy or meditation, or if I'm programming my brain on good things, I want positive music. Now, the next thing, you could write anything you want in the world and still reprogram the brain. But what if you wrote your most profound and passionate dreams about life? And what if you got yourself in a really happy place before you did it? What if you said, well, I'm going to go do the good new ball for 5 minutes. Good new, good new, good new, la 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 la. Wow, I'm really happy. Now it's a good time to write my Grapho-Therapy. I'm going to be rich and famous. I'm going to have a beautiful relationship. I'm going to have a great family. I'm going to be healthy till the day I die. You know, age 180. Whatever it is. Write something real. You don't believe me? I'm already getting younger. Ask anyone who met me 5 years ago. I'm actually getting smaller and younger, and I'm in diapers right now. Okay? Now, all I'm suggesting is, and this is what's new for those of you that have gone to Grapho-Therapy before, yes, you can change your handwriting, yes, it'll work. Would it work better if you wired different things on top of the neural pathway? Wire love, wire excitement, wire passion, wire ambition, wire all that into the same neural pathway, and tell yourself, I think I can, I think I can. There was a child's book called The Little Engine That Could. Do they have that here? This was my favorite book. I remember being 3 or 4 years old and asking my mom, read me The Little Engine That Could, because he went up the hill and up the hill and up the hill, and he was very tired, and he was up the hill and up the hill. And the little engine that could was a metaphor for persistence, which is interesting. I have a big cross in my T like persistence now. But that mental dialogue of I think I can, I think I can, would be really good mental dialogue to do as you're changing your T-bar. Now, all those means when you write your T-bar 2 years later, what's going to unconsciously come back into your brain? The think I can, the emotion, the smell, the music. Even if it's unconscious, it'll stimulate. And so every time you write for the rest of your life, the programming that you did intentionally now pays off in re-stimulating in positive, powerful ways. Isn't that exciting? Wow, it's like, God, it's so exciting. You can actually use your brain to stimulate yourself later in life, because right now your life may be going great, and now you have the energy and you can program and you can go to the gym and you can do the mental gym, and a couple of years later maybe your family passes away or you have some hardship, and all of a sudden your brain's going, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, it's good. You're healthy. And every time you write, you feel good even though you're having bad times, and your propensity to survive those and to excel in those is much easier.